up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing WW84. That stands for Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman card game by Cryptozoic Entertainment, and it is designed by Andrew Kremmer. Now, I know the name is a little odd. WW84 Wonder Woman card game. Not a big fan of it, but, you know, sometimes you have some oddly named games. Well, Julie's going to take it away and tell you more about the game itself.
It is a competitive card game that plays 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and above, and plays in about 25 to 30 minutes.
And what is this game based on, Julie?
It's based on the Wonder Woman 84 movie.
Yes, and we'll talk about the theming as we get into the review. We will be showing you the components, how to set up the game, and how to play. If you'd like to skip ahead to the review, just take a look down below at the timestamps and feel free to jump ahead. Now, what you will be doing in this game is that each player has a deck of cards, and everyone will be taking on the role of Wonder Woman. Essentially, what you're trying to do is defeat the most enemies and be the best out of all of the Wonder Women by saving the most civilians and having the highest score at the end of the game. Did I miss anything, Julie?
I think you got it covered.
All right, let's get this to the table one more time. And before that, we need to
grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend and fellow woman. I don't know. I mean, this game's odd.
Okay, stop while you're behind. So we're going to take it to the table one more time.
One more time. Now we're going to take a quick look at the components and teach you how to set up Wonder Woman 84 Wonder Woman card game, or WW84. I don't know. I hate the name. So let's take a quick look at the rule book. You get a nice explanation of the components. The font is good. Layout is good. Nice, easy explanation as to what you're going to be doing, how you defeat an enemy, legal card plays, and then how you will win the game. There are some references for the different rewards that you will get from defeating enemies in here. And then there is a nice summary of how you will be going through a turn on the back of the rulebook. Now you do have the civilian tokens, which come in denominations of 1, 2, and 3. You can see that this is how they look when they're face down. You have the enemy deck, which has different enemies, as you can see, and it will tell you how you get rewards. So highest diversity, as in the player that has the most diverse amount of action symbols, will get to draw 1 civilian token. If you manage to play a punch card on this enemy, you will draw a civilian token. So as you can see, they all have different things, like the most lassos, all of an action. Highest diversity, draw 2. 2 sprints you can draw 2. And by meeting these requirements, that's how you're going to save the most civilians and end up being the victor. Next, we have the 4 Wonder Woman decks. We're not going to take a look at all of them because they are actually identical. The only real difference, well, not even really a difference, is the outline. So all the gold cards are outlined in gold. You have your own Wonder Woman, and then you have your set of cards. We'll take a look what the actual cards are in one of the other decks, the black or the white one, as we haven't played with those yet. So you can see silver, once again, just simple actions. Now we'll take a look at the white deck. We'll go through. So your white Wonder Woman card, you've got the single block action, you have the single sprint action, single lasso, single punch, and then you have the double actions, which are lasso punch, lasso sprint, punch block, punch sprint, block sprint, and lasso block. And every deck is made up of these same cards. As I mentioned, the gold and the silver are shuffled. We're going to be keeping those out for our setup. And then here we've got black. As you can see, we haven't played with them, and they are identical to the other decks. Now we're going to remove the decks and get this game set up. It's very easy to set up. We will move this off camera. We're going to set up the enemies, and over here we're going to make our pile of civilian tokens. So we'll flip those. Those all upside down. Pile all the tokens in here and mix them up so that we don't know which is which. We'll just stack them all. Pile over here. We then have the enemy deck, and we will reveal 3 enemy cards. I might have to move that over just a little bit. So it's 1, 2, and 3. there are 3 enemy cards in play. Once you defeat one, well, they will go away. We've got our 2 players. You're just supposed to have your Wonder Woman out to denote which player is which. Slide the decks down a little bit, give us a little more room. I've got this really tight on camera so that you can see. And then we've got our silver deck and the silver Wonder Woman. Now, I was thinking about having their hands on camera. I actually will do that. I'm going to do my best to keep their hands on camera. We'll just have the silver and gold cards up here so that we know which player is which. Don't really need them, actually. It's really just more for theme and to tell you what character you are. But there you have it. That's how you set up the game. The last thing you need to do is draw 5 cards. We'll shuffle the decks really quickly. They've already been played with and shuffled. It's not like I know where any of the cards are. We'll take the top 5 cards for gold. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got that. Tons of sprint. Not a great shuffling job there. We'll take silver. We'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's horrendous. So shuffle this up a little bit more. Don't want to have 5 punches. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that can happen in the game, but if I'm going to teach you how to play it, we really don't want it. So there you go. We've got our hands of cards, and keep it right here as I'm going to teach you how to play the game. Now I'm going to teach you how to play WW84 Wonder Woman card game. Now you'll notice I've changed a few things up and I reshuffled the decks. Wanted to make sure we had a little bit more diversity for this how to play. So we've got our 3 enemies that have been set up. I moved the civilian tokens. I removed these 2 cards because they're really not important. And each player has their hand of 5 cards. Now, the way you will win the game is by getting the most points. To do that, you need to rescue a lot of civilians and get the most total point score. Now, we do not know what the values are. They may be 1, 2, or 3. That's why all the tokens are face down. The game will also end once 10 enemies have been defeated. In this case, we'll have the gold player go first. And let's take a look at what we want to do. So we've got some nice value here with most punches let you draw 2, and 2 different actions will let you draw 1. Well, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of punches, but we can get the 2 different actions right away to draw 1, which I think is just a solid move right there. So that's all I'm going to do here. And this one, it's getting a sprint down will automatically let you draw 1, and maybe to try to score right away. And things will differ a little bit in 2 or 3 player game. There's a lot of value doing this in the, I also meant to say 4 player. There's a lot of value doing this in a 3 or 4 player game because you're guaranteed to now get at least a civilian. In a 2 player game, if the other player plays a sprint, well, they're going to get a civilian as well. At this point, we're done. So we draw the top 3 cards of our deck and we are good to go. So now it moves on to our silver player. And as I mentioned, they're going to just clear this enemy, and just realized that some of these cards slid off camera. We'll slide that over a little bit. So now that they have played their first card, we discard the cards. I'm just having the discard piles be slightly off camera there. This enemy now gets discarded, and as player 2 was the one that defeated them, they get to draw a civilian. Fortunately, they only get 1. Player 1 also had the 2 sprints on there. They draw a civilian, they end up with 2, so they actually did a little bit better. We now immediately play another enemy. As you can see, the most blocks will let you draw 2, and 2 actions, if any, will draw 1. Well, we have a real nice play right there, as we got 2 actions. And this also guarantees that we get the most blocks by playing the second block action, because we have 2. So no one can actually play more blocks than us. And what's great about this is that if you tie with another player, you both get the reward. So even if player 1 plays 2 blocks, we will still both get to draw 2. And that's a great move also in a 3 and 4 player game. So we just have our 2 punches left. We draw, I drew 4, we draw 3 cards, and we're back up and ready to go. Sorry, I grabbed my discard by mistake. So here's my hand, and it is now player 1's turn. So let's see what we got. Most punches, we get to draw 2. That just seems like a no-brainer here. Let's try to get the most punches. Lock up as much as we can here. So we've got... and we actually can't play this card. So that's a great thing. I was looking at that. So you can see we played the lasso and punch. Because this also is a lasso, it is not eligible to go on this enemy. We, however, can play the punch sprint. But do we really want to do that? I don't know. I know we want to tie and get 2 blocks on there, which is good. Well, we could just clean that up with the punch sprint, and that's not a bad thing to do because we're all going to draw a bunch of civilians, and that'll give a nice showcase to the game. So we will actually do that. Play everything there as we clear this. Silver cards go to silver player, gold back to gold, just so you can see that. We then draw 2 civilians. Unfortunately, we only get 3 ones. Player 2 also gets to draw 3 civilians, getting a 2 and a 1, and another 1. The enemy is removed. We then draw a new enemy. Now, just to finish this off, we're going to have player 2 play their last turn, and then Julie and I will be coming back at you with our review of the game. Now, most punches, we've got a lot of punches here, and a great move for us is to just lock that up. There's really not that much more to be played there. A sprint, another block. So playing 3 punches is a really good move. Draw back up to our 3 cards. And as you can see, we've got the block and the sprint to clean that off next turn. So there you have it. That's how you play a Wonder Woman card game, WW84. Now keep it right here as Julie and I will be coming back at you with our review of the game. Wonder Woman card game, WW84. What did you think of this game?
Well, I was a little surprised when you told me you were going to buy the game because we didn't even finish the movie. That's how much we didn't like it.
Well, I'm going to be clear. The price was good, and I needed to ship some stuff from a game store, and this just really fit in with that order.
Never a good sign when you buy a game because you want free shipping.
Well, I had hopes that this would be a quick, fun, easy game. We like Wonder Woman as a theme. Well, I wasn't sure how this would work with the movie, and we'll talk about that, but let's get to Julie's initial thoughts first.
Well, so, I mean, the idea is good. I mean, in the sense that you're going to be, playing cards of different types, so you've got punch, block, lasso, sprint. I think that's all of them.
Yep, the 4 different actions.
And you line up those symbols and you try to defeat the most number of enemies. So that's
it's fairly straightforward, and I'm going to agree with you right here. I like the fact that you're playing actions. The way that you play actions and get rewards is interesting. I just think there are a lot of other problems around that.
Okay, so let's stick to the Wonder Woman theme. So yes, there are Wonder Woman cards.
Okay, let's just get to the point. This theme sucks. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're trying to be nice about this, but there is no point for this to be Wonder Woman 84. This would work way better as a comic book theme with enemies, or even themed after Justice League, because at least you could be punching parademons in the face.
Okay, so the issue I have with it is, first of all, the stills are pretty bad. I think there's maybe 10 different stills that they got from the whole entire movie.
Maybe a little bit more, but I agree. I want to just say that the image quality is good compared to some movie stills that I've seen in games. These are good quality stills. That being said, they're pretty terrible because of what they depict.
So, you're fighting an enemy and it's just called enemy.
Yeah, and it's Wonder Woman holding a leg or different pictures of Cheetah. It's god awful.
Yeah, so have other, I guess there's only one enemy, but at least color different types of cheetah. I don't know.
It doesn't work. It really just doesn't work with the theme. This would have also have worked with the original Wonder Woman because they could have at least been enemy soldiers that you're punching.
Yeah, so, I mean, for that, it was pretty lame. So that's a lot of negatives. I also don't like when you're
Same character, no different powers.
no, I can even live with that. I don't like the randomness. Okay, so first of all, you have randomness because it's a card game of what you're drawing and what you can play. When you're playing two players, it just doesn't work sometimes because of what you're drawing, and nobody can play anything based on what's available for the different villains. So, like one of the games we played, we kept discarding cards because what was left that needed to be played, nobody was pulling that card. So, when you're playing two players, that isn't fun. The other thing that really makes this have very little strategy is the fact that when you're defeating the different enemies, yes, they give you maybe two or three, like there's different things you can do to get you to rescue more civilians. However, you don't know how many civilians you're rescuing because you draw a token, and it can be one, it can be two, or it can be three.
Yes, and that is a terrible part of the game that really skews so that like nothing means anything at this point because of that random scoring aspect. I could draw 3 tokens, get 3 ones. Julie could draw 1 token from an enemy we defeated and get 3 points. It should.
Well, I mean, to give you an example, a very concrete example, we both defeated. I put the last card, but we both had the same amount. So we tied on that card. We each got to draw 3 tokens. I pulled 2 3s and a 1. You pulled 3 1s.
Exactly. And at that point, it's almost like, okay, well, you just scored a bunch more points than me. I can try to be more strategic and get ahead. And maybe this works better in a 4-player game. We didn't bother to play it at 4 players or even try, but it's still really weak. I mean, the only reason why I'm not like tearing my hair out at this game is because it plays in 25 minutes, which makes the randomness bearable.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not much involvement in this. First game we played, kind of, going through the motions, we played it. Jason says, okay, I won. And he beat me by a lot. Like, there was just not even.
I just drew all the 3s. I had all the 3s and most of the 2s.
And then it was the reverse the next time we played. So for me, there's just not much invested in it, which is great because it's a 25-minute game, and if I lose, whatever. But for me, not to be invested in a game also means I really don't care whether or not we play it ever again or not. And so for me, that just doesn't make, for a very interesting game.
And I've got some more stuff I want to discuss and have some questions to ask you in particular. My thoughts really mirror Julie's. Like, the game is way too random for what it is. If they'd solidified the scoring aspect, it could have been really cool. If this was a Justice League themed game, you could easily take this up to 6 players. Every different member of the Justice League could have an asymmetric power. You could have the same basic concept, and the game would be just like that much better. It would go from essentially being a fail to a pass. And I really wonder if this design wasn't something else, and then just because Cryptozoic had the license, or DC said, hey, you want to make a Wonder Woman 84 game to go on the Target shelves? I didn't get it at Target, but I imagine that's where the market is because of the price point. And they just took something, retooled it, and tossed it out there because this theme is completely just pasted on and doesn't need to be there. So that's disappointing. I really do like the mechanic for how you score the different civilians, though. I thought that's really cool by having either the most actions, 2 of a specific action, how ties mean that both players draw. It does get some interesting not concepts in terms of interesting strategy with regards to card placement. And there's obviously the best thing to do every turn, so it's not like the strategy is very difficult, but I enjoyed that aspect of the game of trying to be like, well, I want to get the highest diversity here, but I also want to get it on this card because this is going to get me the highest amount of points if it all scores the way that I want it to. Another mechanic that could be very interesting in a game with a better theme and a little bit more depth to it. What did you think of that aspect of the game, the way it scores, the drawing of the tokens?
I already talked about it. I said I thought it was stupid.
Well, you didn't know. You said you thought the fact that it was random was stupid. Did you like the way the mechanic itself? Would you have enjoyed it if the civilians actually had a point value? Like a set point value?
Yeah, I thought I'd already talked about that. I just feel like that's what I said, that when you're defeating a villain, you want to be able to have a little bit more strategy behind what you're defeating instead of just grabbing tokens.
Okay, well, there you have it. I think we've talked about Wonder Woman 84, the card game, enough. As you can see, this game is not going to be long for the collection. We actually had some conversations about keeping the game, and I think what really came up with regards to the decision to get rid of it was, am I going to play this? Am I going to play Love Letter? I will pick Love Letter every time over this game. Are we going to play this, or are we going to play Codenames? I'm going to pick Codenames every time over this game. And the fact that we've got Codenames Duet and Harry Potter means we can play co-op. So there's just a lot of entry-level games that we have that are far better than this. I mean, Century Spice Road, I just don't ever want to get this back to the table. The good points are it's easy to learn, it plays fast, but it's quite clear that they've like hacked something together to just slap a license on. And we are now back in the days of bad, poorly done licensed game. So yeah, there you go.
So, is it time for rating?
It's definitely time for ratings.
So, this is a 5 for me.
It's a 5 with how much you dislike it. This is a 4. This is just awful. I can't believe you gave it a 5. Like, if the theme was just like okay, like I could give it a 5 because it does what it wants to do. But those stills and the fact that the theme is just like literally stuck on there with a
I didn't
sticker.
hate it. I just didn't think it was good.
Well, the theme is what kills it for me. No, sorry. Disagree there, but yeah. So I guess we've got another one for our worst of 2021 list. So something we didn't do in 2020, but I guess it's happening this year.
So on that note, it's time to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
Take a look down below in the video description. You will find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see pictures of WW84 Wonder Woman card game, well, they will be on our feeds. There won't be that many of them, as you can imagine. And then also down below in the video description, if you decide to check this game out for yourself, you can go take a look at our link to multizone.ca. Click the link, get 10% off your next purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel because a portion of that purchase gets returned to us. And now popping up in front of us, you're going to find links to some of our previously released videos. Over here will be our most recent release, and I think Julie and I are of the same mind. Over here will be the Wonder Woman Challenge of the Amazons review and how to play that we did. That's the better Wonder Woman game. Pick that one up.
Sounds good. So it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend. We're no longer both Wonder Woman.
We're going to keep playing games, just not this one.
Yeah, no, never again.